Hello, my name is Marina, Editor-in-Chief of Food Logistics and Supply and Demand Chain Executive.
I'm Brielle and I'm the Associate Editor.
And I am McKenna Morales, and I am the Assistant Editor.
And today we're talking about innovative transformation projects in relation to Supply and Demand Chain Executives Supply Chain Projects Award, formerly known as SDCE 100, and how automation, innovation, collaboration, and communication help companies in the supply chain industry forge ahead. Our top Supply Chain Projects Award spotlights successful and innovative transformation projects that deliver bottom-line value to small, medium, and large enterprises across a range of supply chain functions. And a big thank you to our sponsors. You'll see their logos scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout our conversation. You can also learn more about all of our 2021 top supply chain project winners by visiting sdcexec.com. So to start, one of the things that I personally noticed with these projects and some of the nominations that came through was that innovation was the key to success. There's 2020, going into 2021, we saw a lot of supply chain disruptions that came in a variety of different forms. There was the COVID-19 pandemic, there were natural disasters. Recently, there was the ransomware attack. We've also had ships that were stuck in canals. The fact that these companies were still innovating to make sure that their supply chains were more resilient and had extra strength in the supply chain where it mattered most is both inspiring and comforting. And that innovation came in a lot of different forms, from technology and software to fleet management to simply providing better price management solutions to customers. Some of the winners completed projects in pharmaceutical, healthcare, e-commerce, and automotive markets and worked toward a more agile and flexible supply chain. Innovation also came in the forms of how workers were onboarded, how technology was implemented, and how they worked to achieve improved forecasting, demand planning, and visibility. Without innovation, a lot of these projects wouldn't have made it off the ground, especially during a pandemic where many workers were displaced and companies had to operate remote. So with that, Brielle, I'm going to pass things over to you so you can talk more about the automation behind these projects and how it helped companies continue to innovate from afar.
Within a lot of my coverage on SDCexec.com and Food Logistics magazines and online, I try to focus on other things that are happening other than COVID. I'm trying not to just focus on that completely, but it's very difficult to do that because there are so many things that COVID has touched, and it's really changed the game in so many different ways. And one of the main ways is technology implementation. So we've obviously been moving towards a more remote and more technological workforce in general in the last few years. But once COVID hit, it kind of pushed everything off to be remote, and people were flocking to technology to be able to control their supply chains and operations through the pandemic. So because of this, even technology providers themselves started innovating ways on how to launch technology programs in a remote capacity. So now people are able to buy and hire new technology providers and implement that and launch it within their operations completely remote without having to interact with each other in a face-to-face atmosphere. And so we're really moving towards a faster future where you can easily start a new technology program without really having to disrupt your day-to-day. It makes it an optimized way to launch these new platforms. And it's really skyrocketed in the last few months because we were forced to do so.
And a lot of that comes from, there's also the collaboration and communication aspect, which we saw a lot from some of these winners. I know from where I sit, it was really refreshing to see a lot of these companies work together. Some of them were even competitors, and they were working together for the common good of people. And that's just to continue to move product through the supply chain. And to do so, you needed to collaborate with other companies to create these projects and make sure that these innovations happen. So McKenna, talk to me about some of the collaboration and communication aspects you saw from this year's top supply chain project winners.
Right. So as you know, we're talking about the top supply chain projects, and you can't have a project without collaborating with one another. It's just very prevalent from what Marina just said, that collaboration is a major part of the supply chain. And it has really been made clear this last year from 2020 and into 2021 we as an industry have to continue to rely on one another, because if something does go wrong, it can disrupt the entire logistics process. So collaboration is extremely important, and so is communication, because that can help manage any potential disruptions that may arise. But when COVID first began last March, the industry really saw the importance of collaboration even more. When hospitals were running out of PPE, car manufacturers shifted gears and began making masks, while distilleries began distributing hand sanitizer as well. And so when you collaborate with others, you have the same end goal. That, and this time it meant defeating the global pandemic. And I think that is a big theme that we saw with this award this year. People really teamed together just to make the world a lot safer. But communication has become even more important this last year as well. And since a majority of our teams did have to work remotely, just look at where we all are currently, began telecommunicating, which, whether it be over Zoom or team calls and messages. Now we have our work in the palm of our hands, and we are able to communicate with our team members whenever we can. And not only are we communicating more, but we also got to know each other even on a more personal level. I mean, we often complained about the horrors of e-learning and just other family walking in the background of these calls. But we also saw that supply chain companies were adjusting to the changing landscapes. So a lot of companies began implementing warehouse management systems via the comfort of their own homes just by using these platforms. And I just think that is amazing in the future.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today. Congratulations again to our 2021 Top Supply Chain Project Award winners. Be sure to go to sdcexec.com to learn more about this year's award winners. Thank you.